My goal for today is for you guys to just learn the basics of 1-point perspective, and we're going to do a quick little workshop where we are going to draw the hallway using the most basic perspective, which is 1 point. Okay, we will talk about this more later on as we work into this unit, but this is just a quick kind of crash course over this. Okay, so when we're talking about 1-point perspective, the key to remember is what is called the vanishing point. Okay, the vanishing point we abbreviate with VP. Okay, so the vanishing point is simply anything where the lines disappear into our perspective. Okay, we can only see so far because then we have, the horizon to deal with, or certain three-dimensional, walls, buildings, objects in the distance that block our view. So when we are talking about a vanishing point, we are talking about where those things recede into the distance so we can no longer see them. This was created hundreds of years ago as a technique to show three-dimensional space on a simple two-dimensional surface like a paper or canvas. Okay, so what we have done here is we are simplifying things that we would normally think of with form into simple shapes. Okay, so when we are applying the VP, we are going to first start with what's called our horizon line, okay, that divides our sky from our ground. Then we are going to place the vanishing point. Now the vanishing point can be in many places. It's always on our horizon though, so notice how my horizon line is going right through my vanishing point. My horizon could be lower or higher based on what I'm seeing, but my vanishing point must always lie on the horizon line. Then what I do is I will create diagonal lines to symbolize, for example, walls or structures. So for this example, you can see we are talking about drawing like a street. So we have maybe buildings, we have a ground, we have the sky. When we use vanishing point, all diagonal lines go to your vanishing point. All other lines are either vertical or horizontal, and they run parallel, as in they don't ever intersect. Okay? So if I were going out into the hallway, and you guys are all going to have this little handout here too, okay? First thing I'm going to do is draw my horizon line onto my paper surface. Okay, for now I'm just doing it simple half and half, right? I'm going to place my vanishing point onto that horizon line. So for all intents and purposes, this is our ground, this is our sky, okay? Or if we're indoors, right? Floor, ceiling. Now we are going to create the walls, okay? So to do this the most simple way, I am going to take my ruler and I'm just going to draw diagonal lines to each of the 4 corners. And notice that my ruler is lining up towards my vanishing point. This is just a way to get your simple layout of the walls versus the ceiling versus the ground. So you can see I'm making an X essentially, right? Okay, so what we now have is walls, floor, ceiling. Okay, so kind of visualize that. It's abstract right now, right? We're going to go out and work with it in person, but we start with the abstract concept first. Okay, now when I'm looking down a hallway, there's going to be a back wall. Okay, so in order to create the back wall, I think of the most basic shape that I would probably use. Okay, so for today we're going to say it's like a square / rectangle. It depends on how close or far you are from the wall. So I'm going to take my ruler, and what I'm going to simply do here is draw a box at the center of my little X's here. And I'm going to make sure that it connects each diagonal line. So across, then down. I'm going to keep my ruler moving around here. I want to make sure that it starts at the diagonal and goes all the way across each space. So are you starting to see here where you're starting to create a back wall? All right, and I just want to make sure that these two line up. So I'm drawing from the diagonal to the diagonal. All right, so for all intents and purposes, abstractly, I have a back wall. I have walls that are close to me, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and just erase this for right now so you can kind of see how that looks. Leaving my vanishing point, because sometimes that kind of helps you to see a little better. Can you see it now? Okay, So now I have my basic structure that I would need to start drawing a hallway, right? Okay, so what I like to demo the easiest, and you'll see this in our hallways at school, is my hallway might have a tile floor. Okay, my tile lines are going to be diagonal, and they are going to line up to my vanishing point. And they are going to end here because this is the edge of my wall. So watch as I'm going to take my ruler, I'm going to place it on my vanishing point. I'm going to go ahead and just divide my floor into spaces. Notice I'm moving my ruler across. Okay, so I would leave it that way if it was like a wood floor. If it is a tile floor, I'm now going to divide it horizontally to make the different squares of the tile. As things get closer to you, do they get bigger or smaller? Bigger, okay? So I'm going to start at the farthest point, which is going to be my back wall, because we're saying that the wall kind of ends there. And I'm going to slowly, as I work my way down the paper, spread my ruler farther apart from the last space so that we have small, medium, and then larger tiles as they get closer to my perspective. Okay, so that's my basic layout for getting a hallway concept. Okay, then you're going to start drawing anything else you see. Maybe there is a door on the hallway. Again, you'll have an actual specific picture. I'm just giving you kind of a general idea. So the same way a door would be a rectangle. Okay, I'm going to use my ruler. I'm going to start my door at the edge of the floor. Okay, so here's one side of the door. I'm going to move my ruler towards me, draw the other side of the door. Because my door starts here and goes away from me, it's going to slant towards my vanishing point. The top is also going to line up with my vanishing point. Okay, so I can make my top of my door here. Here would be the top of the door. If my door is taller, I can keep moving it up, make a line that goes to my vanishing point. All diagonal lines have to go to your vanishing point. They shouldn't go anywhere else. Okay, so let's say that's the top of my door, and then I'm just going to continue to extend this diagonal line. Starting to make some sort of sense? Okay, and then I'm just going to continue building this a little bit more. So like, let's say there is like, the door is set inside a little bit. So to show a frame around the door, that'd be a diagonal line, which means I need to use my vanishing point. Okay, so now maybe there's a little frame there or something. What if my door was like set in a little bit? I'm going to make a little lip to my door by using a horizontal line. Notice it's lined up with my tile. Okay, and remember, we are going to spend an entire unit on this, so if you're feeling like this is a lot, it is. That's why we're just practicing today. See how much you can kind of figure out from observation and just using your ruler.